The effect our emotions have on animate beings is evident, but how do they affect the inanimate? I conducted a 30-day experiment putting this question to the test as I subjected 3 separate jars of rice to either positive, high-frequency vibrations, negative, low-frequency vibrations, or the third I ignored as a controlled variable. The parameters of this experiment go as follows. I proportioned a steam batch of Golden Star Thai jasmine rice into 3 separate mason jars until each jar was half full. On top of the airtight lids, I painted a smiley face with color and expression parallel to the vibrations they would receive. Once ready, I put the love jar of rice in my room, the hate jar of rice in a cupboard by my bathroom, and the ignore jar in our laundry room. Having been skeptical but curious of the experiment, I hypothesized that all 3 jars of rice would mold, but the hate jar would accumulate significantly more mold than its counterparts. Beginning the experiment on August 18th, and starting with the love rice, I showered it with compliments and affirmations. Anything from, "You're such a fine jar of rice, goddamn," to, "Your beauty is enough to part the oceans just so the whole world could appreciate it." The jar didn't respond, but my intuition told me it was flattered. After I was finished with the love jar, I moved on to the hate jar. Leading with an abrasive, "What up, bitch?" I began to yell at the hate jar. I continued a similar pattern to the one above, with my brothers joining in occasionally to send their bad vibrations. As the experiment wore on, I began keeping the love jar on my desk while I painted, or by my side when I played music. All was fine and dandy until one morning, 12 days in, a spot of mold appeared on the love jar. Devastated, I began to envelop the jar in all sorts of comfort and love to help rid it of the decay it fell victim to. I reassured the rice that it was still in fact beautiful in hopes of boosting its self-esteem. For the hate jar, I would bury and ignore the negative emotions or thought that had crossed my path until I got home. In the presence of the hate rice and the hate rice only, I let it all out. This method seemed to be effective as I saw a slow but noticeable increase in the size of mold spot in the jar. Upon checking the ignore jar, I found that even after 15 days there was no change in the rice. It was 100% free of any apparent decomposition, and I wasn't sure why it was doing so well, but I assumed it's due to the cold temperature and darkness of the room I put it in. I showed the hate rice no mercy, a transition from verbal abuse to physical, as I would slap it, just hard enough to be painful, but not hard enough to dislodge and scramble the moldy rice. To further expose the love rice to good vibrations, I played on my ukulele, Alleluia, for the love jar in hopes that the passion and care I put into my music would be absorbed by the rice. I believe that it did work because the rice didn't mold any further than the initial spot found on day 12. As the 30 days came to a close, the love rice had only one small spot of mold. The hate rice was moldy in several places, and the ignore rice has only some sogginess and a small mold spot. By the end, one thing was clear. The vibrations we manifest and project onto others reflect and affect ourselves just the same. Thank you.